All right, so today what we're preparing is called Turmeric Cauliflower Buddha Bowls. And I like to start with Buddha Bowls for anyone learning whole food plant-based eating, because what we're doing is eating of nature, 100%. You're going to have the living enzymes, the vitamins, the minerals, everything that's going to be what you would have in a standard American diet is usually food that's taken away from its enzymes. When you cook something to death, as you see, what we prepped, you still have life in it. They're a little bit crispy. As Tammy said, one needs to be done a little bit more. But when you still have your food where it's chewable, crunchy, you're going to still have the enzymes and the life in it. So we don't want to cook everything out of it. And there's no preservatives, no animal fats, nothing that is going to clog your arteries, nothing that's going to hinder your cells and cause intoxication, inflammation, all the things we don't want. So all the food we're eating today is going to do the opposite. It's going to eat to live. You're going to have food that's going to remove inflammation, food that's going to help detoxify the cells and rebuild the cells. So we're starting out with the Buddha Bowl. What we chose today, you can use anything in a Buddha Bowl. I like to start out with a base of proteins, which would be maybe beans or lentils or quinoa. We're using jasmine rice today, I think, or brown rice. So any of the rices, so many things you can do for a Buddha Bowl. We are using, well, I'll just read on here. We're using the edamames. We have the whole pods, which is fun because you can take them apart and you can pick them apart and eat them. You can also use just the bean itself. They sell them both ways. So we chose this today because it's very pretty. And also in this Buddha Bowl today, we're using cauliflower that we've spiced up with tahini, garlic, salt and pepper. And you can use parsley, you can use any spices. That's a good part with eating whole food plant-based. You're not going to go wrong. If it's too salty, you just add more protein, more beans to it. If it's not salty enough, you can always add more. If you want more spices, that makes it easier transition for people who's going from the meat and dairy diet, is using a lot of spices, a lot of herbs, some of the sesame oils. You can even use some fruit juices, which gives a lot of good flavor to it. So today I'm going to have Tammy help me plate up a Buddha Bowl, which is very popular in a lot of the vegetarian and vegan cuisines today. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of these. Anyone not heard of a Buddha Bowl? Okay. No one's heard of a Buddha Bowl. Okay, well, so today will be a treat for you. So what we're going to have her do, we're going to put a good help. This is going to be one meal. The good thing about whole food plant-based, you can eat and eat and eat. We're going to fill this bowl and that's going to be your lunch, or it can be your breakfast, it can be your dinner. So we're going to plate it with the rice that's already been prepared, and we've chosen a jasmine rice today. You can use brown rice, you can use basmati rice, any rice that you choose. We chose jasmine because it's only 15 minutes. I think a brown rice is going to be about 45 minutes to cook. So we just did that on the time element today. So now she's going to plate it with our prepared carrots, zucchini, the edamame, and the cauliflower that we've added and everyone will get the recipe for this as well. With the cauliflower, that's where you're adding the extra flavors. So as you taste that, you're going to be like, wow, this is good. You're going to get sweet, you're going to get sour, you're going to get crunch, you're going to be satisfied, let me put it that way. And then they have picked some kale right out of their garden. They do community gardens here, and there's beautiful, beautiful foods out here that is garden to table. So when you go farm to fork, you can come right here and do farm to fork. You don't have to go to some expensive restaurant. You can come here and make it on this beautiful, what is this called, Jim?
Mobile cooking.
This is a mobile cooking unit, and it has been a joy to work with this. It's ventless. That's looking delicious. Looking very, very good. So, and then what we're going to do is top it with some of the tomatoes that they got out of their garden as well, and we just cut those right in half. And on camera, we're going to prepare the very simple dressing that goes over it. And the dressing that we've chosen today, you can make any dressing that you want. And the good part about making your own from whole food plant-based, you can make the flavor profile any way you want to. So today we're using hemp seed ranch dressing. Is this beautiful? Look at the colors of nature. We should eat the colors of the rainbow for health. And by the way, I think we've chosen a name for this cooking class, and we're calling it Cooking for the Health of It. If everyone likes that, that's what we'll call this. Okay, this is beautiful, Tammy. So now we're going to make the dressing, and what we have in here, I can give you the recipes, but I will also go over, we're doing this recipe for 2, but we have 6 or 8 people going to eat, so I've made the recipe quadruple, 6 times, whatever. So Tammy, I'm going to have you take everything that we have and just put it in this little Ninja blender.
All of these?
We can just bring this right over here if you want. You can get it off. Thank you. Oh, twist, okay. We're going to be bringing in one of my favorite blenders. It's called the Vitamix, and that can turn a piece of wood into sawdust. Thank you. Okay, lost that one. And this one's very good. This will chop ice. This is going to do the job today. But the Vitamix is a true food processor that you use to blend everything to cream or to powder. You can make soups and you can make ice cream both out of it. So Tammy, what we're putting in here is 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds. And then we're going to do half a teaspoon of onion powder, half teaspoon of garlic, half teaspoon of cracked pepper, 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. We don't have it, so we've used apple cider vinegar. Again, in Whole Foods plant-based, you can't go wrong. You're going to make it taste delicious any way you can do it. Yep, go ahead and put all those in there. So this is the apple cider vinegar. And again, I'm giving you the recipes for 2 servings. This is more. So then we are using raisins for the natural sweetener. Rather than using sugar to make it sweet, we're using raisins, which is a whole food. And anytime you eat food in its whole form, you're going to get digestive health. You're going to get health of cells that will help the myelin sheath. And just pour those in and rebuild the cellular tissue. So to make a little thickener, we're going to add rolled oats. Who would have thought that, right? In a dressing. So the rolled oats, as you see, there's no processed sugars in here. There's no processed dairy. In fact, what we're going to do is put, this is almond milk. Is that what this is? Okay, so the almond milk is going to pull it all together and bring it to the cream that we need. And we'll probably be a little loud. I'm not sure how loud this blender is. But she's going to blend this until it becomes a creamy dressing. We'll put those right over the top. We'll just use that as a decoration. So she's going to bring this to smooth. And that's going to be your hemp ranch dressing. I like to put dill in it. We didn't have that today, but you can use any herbs or spices that you like. Good? Yeah. Set on high. Well, the Vitamix will actually make this really, really creamy. This has not got the power of the Vitamix, so it's not going to blend it like you would get out of a bottle, but it's still going to, the flavor is still going to be there. Might have to let it go a couple minutes. Erica, can we get the Dole Whip recipe? The Dole Whip recipe?
I'm sorry?
Can we get the Dole Whip recipe?
That was on the second sheet?
Yes. Any questions? You all looking forward to your Buddha Bowl?
Okay, I have a question because I was watching all of this. What is that tahini?
Tahini?
What is that?
Good question. That is ground sesame seeds. And you can use, if you don't have tahini, you can use peanut butter. You can use cashew butter, almond butter. Again, with whole food cooking, it doesn't have to be exactly per the recipe. So if you don't have tahini, the peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, all of those are just as well. Pumpkin seed butter, anything you have.
You took that tahini and you put it into something over there. I feel like it was what?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, I did. In the cauliflower,
Okay.
I made that the base. I added the maple syrup and the tahini and a little bit of garlic. And like I said, sometimes I would add dill if I had it. But just add whatever your taste buds like. If you wanted to add black beans to this, that makes a really good, like sometimes I'll take You can use just a can of black beans with no animal fat in it. You can add a little bit of taco seasoning mix. You can add chili mix, whatever you like. And you could add chopped peppers and onions and make it a Western Buddha bowl. Buddha bowls are one of the easiest foods to start with when you're beginning a plant or transitioning from a standard American diet, because you can add anything you want. Just open your refrigerator, whatever you have left over. And what we did with the carrots and the zucchini, we just lightly steamed them. We didn't even put extra seasoning in that because the dressing will actually help with that. I think she took the blender out to another room. Okay, it's done. And so I won't burn the next item. I did slightly burn the cauliflower, not the cauliflower itself, but the bowl under that.
Okay.
Okay, so Eric is getting our next recipe. What we'll do in these classes will be probably the main entree and most likely a dessert. Thank you so much. So while you have that and we're waiting for the dressing, the Dole Whip, I don't know, has anyone ever been to Disney World, Disneyland, I guess it is? Okay, so I don't know if you've known, but down there, one of their famous things is called their Dole Whip, and they charge like $12 or $15 for a little tiny bowl of it. But they use Carnation, that can of milk that's got like 4 cups of sugar in it, all kinds of dairy and processed chemicals in it. They use sugar, they use lots and lots of dairy in it. So the one we're doing today is the healthy version, and I've never had the one at Disney, but I can tell you this has to taste like it.
Wow.
Everyone that I've ever made this for loves it. And in whole food cooking, you can eat your dessert before you eat your main meal, because especially in pineapple, it's very high in bromelain, which is an enzyme that digests protein, it digests carbohydrates. So if you have that already in your body, anything to come later is going to be very healing. Also, when you don't eat meat, one of the things I hear all the time is, where do you get your protein? Well, I can tell you every item in here is chock full of protein. The greener it is, the higher in protein it is. Oh, you know what we forgot? Forgot. The greens from your garden. So I'm going to put a little dab of that in there. You can slice these any way you wanted. We chose today to have the larger pieces, but you can chiffonade. Does anyone know what that means?
No.
Chiffonade is you take the vein out of your center of the leaf, you roll them up, and then you just slice them very thin, so they're like little ribbons. And that's easier for some people to eat. Otherwise, this goes down just fine. It's not tough to eat. So we added a little more green to it. And anything green, if you think about the earth, it's either water or we have green. So the majority of our earth is just chock full of protein, and that's what you're getting here. The tahini, any nuts and seeds. And you notice we don't use animal fats to saute. We don't use oils. We did use a little tiny bit of the sesame oil, and that was just to keep a little flavor for you today instead of going cold turkey, no flavors. But you want to use your profiles in your herbs. But animal fats, as we know, and most of you know all of this, clogs our arteries. It causes high blood pressure. It causes cancers. I mean, that's been proven. There's a book called the China Study, and the only study that's ever been in plant-based cooking is a 25-year study, which we do not get in the medical field for any kind of study that's done. So we've had a 25-year study on that whole food plant-based diet is the absolute best. And you notice I'm not using the word vegan. Vegan is no meat, no animal fat, but vegan is basically a movement where it's more about animal rights, and that's great too. A lot of people are eating whole food plant-based for their health. Others are doing it for the animals, but we're doing it for both. We're going to have a delicious meal prepared, very healthy, no chemicals, no preservatives. Are y'all ready?
Yeah,
You ready to eat it?
we're ready.
All right. So I don't know if we're done. If somebody wants to come through and plate these up, we do have the dressing. We're going to drizzle a little bit of dressing. Normally it's a little creamier. Again, the taste is going to be the same. We're going to put a little dressing over it. The dressings kind of pull everything together for flavor. I like to put extreme amounts of dressing on mine because then I stir it all up together. Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything spicy in there? Spicy, like hot to the...
No, there's not in this. We didn't use any hot peppers.
Okay.
Now, normally you can. Who would like the first one? Our cameraman? Maybe the cameraman could get the first one. We have a couple of cameramen in here. Now you can eat this with a fork, with a spoon, with any way you like it. But we do need some taste testers to let us know what you think. And each one is going to be a different flavor. I would just put a nice little load up over it. Just maybe another one.
Plate these or
Mm,
just?
That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I think they're, each one is going to get a whole Buddha bowl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we made enough for everyone.
Thank you. Oh my God.
And remember, again, when you're eating real food, you're not getting the processed chemicals and the sugars that's going to falsely tell your brain you're full. You're going to know when you're full. You can eat the whole thing. I could eat 2 of these easy at one sitting because you're eating real food that's nourishing your cells. Well,
Rice.
every little thing you eat is going to have a different profile flavoring because of the spices we used. And everyone got a recipe, and the cameraman, you got the recipes of these as well. Did you get a recipe of this? Okay.
We're gonna have it posted on the.
Okay. And then eating whole food plants, you're truly becoming the weight your body's meant to be. So there's so many fads out there today that is about weight loss, and you hear it. And people go on these diets and they lose a lot of weight. But as soon as you go back to the way you want to eat, the weight comes back. What we're doing with whole food plants, this is the way our bodies were intended. We were designed to eat this way. So you can eat as much as you want of real food, and your body's going to become the weight it needs to be. You're going to become healthier. And I know we have a few people in here, and Tammy, and Jim, and Amy. I know, and Patty, I know a lot of you have already done this in your lives and made the changes. So if anyone needs to be interviewed individually, you can talk to any one of them. That's how I met Jim, actually, years ago.
I met Dr. Karen. She used to do these meetups at the Barker Mansion. And I went to 4 or 5 of her classes.
Beautiful, thank
But
you.
that's where I learned about organics. That's where I learned how to make smoothies. That's where I learned about essential oils. All of these things are all integrated now into my life, and I do them every single day.
It's amazing.
Juice in the morning.
And he stayed with it, and that's the key. We want to feed our bodies the health. Food should be our medicine. What's been told by that, Dr. Hippocrates was the first naturopathic doctor that ever existed, and that's my degree as a master herbalist and doctor of naturopathy. Let food be your medicine. If you want to heal, we have foods that are meant to heal our bodies. Of course, there's fasting, there's intermittent fasting, there's all these wonderful things that can lead up to it. But anyone transitioning from a standard American diet, and the food's delicious, everyone that eats it will really agree that it's something that you can live with the rest of your life. Whereas some of the fad diets, they're not worth living for long term. And again, the high proteins of animal fat, those clog your arteries. They do cause high blood pressure. So the people on those fad diets right now, even the Atkins diet years ago, you know, Dr. Atkins died of heart disease, and he's the one that had the meat eating to be the fad at the time for weight loss. So in this, you have your essential fatty acids through the hemp seeds. I think we threw some flax seeds in there. You have a lot of living foods in there. What do you think, Amy?
It's very good.
Good. Yes. And you look like you might be overeating when you have a bowl that size, but that's all living nutrition that your body could use. We'll get to you over there yet.
Are you doing any classes now yourself?
I do some teaching, but mainly I'm going to focus on our classes here and our cooking classes, and I believe we'll be doing some mental health classes, some essential oil classes. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mainly.
She's going to be doing a juicing class.
Okay. So we'll be focusing on natural health in any way around, because it's so easy to live naturally in this unnatural world, and it's just not being taught like it should be. The movement's bigger out there than it was 40, 50 years ago when I started, but today you can go online and just Google in whole food plant-based diet, and you're going to get thousands of wonderful recipes. There's a lot of people out there teaching it, so I really encourage everyone to do that. Did you get yours yet, Jim?
No, I'm sure.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm the labeler.
So when you do make the switch to a plant-based diet, you're going to reap the rewards. You're going to, for one, sustain the earth, because what's causing more problems in our earth than the animals and the animal feed, the genetically modified foods to feed these animals. So if you eat an animal that's been fed genetically modified corn, genetically modified soy, which they are, that's unless you have an organic farm, you are going to get the detrimental part of what this animal has already eaten. So you become That becomes the animal, you become what that animal has eaten. So you're going to notice reduced inflammation, reduced weight. You're only going to be the weight our bodies are meant to be. We all have different bone structure, so we're all not meant to be the same size, but we'll get to be the healthy weight that's designed for you. You'll have increased energy, you'll sleep better. So any of the standard American health issues that we have, they say that 95% of it is diet related. And that's a good thing, because that is one thing that's in our control that we can change. Did you get rice? Yeah. We're done. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay.